Hi, Tim Sales here. In this series of videos, I'm talking about network marketing leads. And this episode, I'm talking about how to introduce a new product or business to your prospect. All right, so we've been talking about the prospect's point of awareness. And so our first one was very aware, and they're loyal to the brand, and so you have to do very little when you write your headlines and the body and the image and stuff like that. And the product aware is just a little bit, like they're just a little bit backed off from it. They're not quite sure yet, and so you just need to add a little something else. And then your solution aware here knows results he wants, or she, doesn't know your product. All right? Doesn't know your product, but they know the results they want. All right, so let's better define that. Prospect either knows or recognizes immediately that he wants what the product does, but he doesn't yet know that there is a product, your product, that will do it for him. All right, so you got to get into that concept here. And so you want to do a promotion, all right? And there's an audience that you're going after. And so if you just post something, anything, and you push it out there, you kind of don't know which one of these you're hitting, right? And so what I'm trying to teach you is how to direct it towards a particular prospect. And so this one, you would be, and it doesn't matter if you're writing a social media post or you are, somebody answered an ad and you're talking to them, or if you're a bit of a leader and somebody says, hey, I want you to talk to my prospect, and you get on the phone with them, you got to determine where they are so that you're able to deliver the right headline or the right communication to them. Right? You got to ask them the right question. And so if you ask them, how aware of our products are you? Right? So now, have you bought any of them? No, not yet. Ooh, boom, right there. Okay. So if you say, do you know what our products solve? No, not really. Okay, you don't know yet. So now you got to find out that person's desire so that you're able to hit where they are. You get what I'm saying here? It's this thing can be twisted any way you want to serve you, this document that I'm putting together here for you. Okay. All right. Prospect either knows or recognizes immediately that he wants what the product does, the solution, but doesn't know yet that there is a product, your product, that will do it for him. All right, so that's where that person sits. The solution-aware prospect is unclear of a solution until he sees your well-written headline, or here's what you say. Okay, so that's and I talked earlier about how to establish all of these things in terms of, coming up with the major desire that your product solves and things like that. So this is just an idea. This is just a mock-up idea. For those who want to quit work someday, just a headline. Okay, so who would that get? Right? So if we go backwards here, the solution-aware prospect is unclear of a solution until he sees your well-written headline. All right, so as an example, for those who want to quit work someday. All right, if you just saw that, and like this advertisement headline is for a person who feels trapped in a job, but can't see a way out. All right, I want you to think about how and why I wrote that. So I sit down and I think, I study, I say, okay, so let me get a picture of this person I want to talk to. I want to get the person who is sitting at work He's frustrated. He's finally realized that he is not, like, the amount of money that he makes and the amount of raises and what his boss is doing and what that boss is like, very angry and stuff like that. And he's like, oh my gosh, man, I made a mistake. You know, how do I get out of this? I've got bills and I've got this and that, and I'm stuck, I'm trapped, right? That guy is who I wrote that for. For those who want to quit work someday, right? Okay, so he has figured out that he will work until he drops, always barely paying his bills. He isn't allowed to get injured or sick, right? Because he's got to keep on the treadmill. But when he reads the headline, he instantly gains hope. That's the job of your headline in this group, all right? So, and I'm going to give you my personal example because it happened to me. So this was my average day before I got into network marketing, okay? Loved it, but saw the life that men that were older than me were living, what they looked like, what their family was like, if there was one, and I didn't want it. Not long term. I absolutely was obsessed with what I did. But I was looking down the road and I was like, man, this doesn't look good. So I wanted a family, and I'll share with you. So I'm going to give you some barriers here, and I want you to see how you could write sales copy to me, because I ended up answering an ad. All right, so my vision, I wanted to have a family. Here's my problems and barriers. In other words, the problems are, I can't do this because of this. And then my barriers is, I got to get over to here and I got to solve this. I wanted out of destruction. As much as I loved that military special operations blitz fun, at the same time, I wanted to get out of destroying things, right? So I wanted more on the construction side of life. And then number two is I had not found my dream girl. And I didn't even think I could in the military, because no girl would want me based upon my profession, like what I did, and then my travel schedule. So I would go out and I could come back 3 months from now, a month from now, 2 days from now, 2 years from now. And I could never tell her. So that ain't gonna work out for any girl. And then number four is that I never saw an example of a family I wanted. In other words, all across the military, all across my childhood, I never saw what I really wanted. Okay, I did. So what I'm trying to describe to you here is the ideal that I'm defining this prospect in this category because it really is who I was, all right, before I answered the ad. Okay, so I never saw an example of the family that I wanted. Didn't like the idea of being with my dream girl and family for only 3 to 4 hour waking hours, right? I wanted to be with them all the time. Why would I want my wife to go this way and me to go this way? And, and so I never see my kids or any of that stuff. So I needed a solution, but I was unclear of what that solution was, all right? So despite the fact that I was in the military being destructive and things like that, I had a soft side. And that soft side wanted the family, wanted, to be with her all the time. All right, and so I had no marketing skills. And so that was one of my barriers. I'm like, man, I can't get out of the military. I'm stuck in it. You get the feeling, I'm stuck in the military. I'm stuck doing destruction. I'm stuck not being able to get my dream girl because she doesn't like my travel schedule. You see how trapped a person gets? All right. So that person is just waiting on a headline. They're waiting on something. All right. Ideas that I had. I'm trying to get out of it, but I haven't found a solution, right? So I could go into the landscape business because when I was a boy, I used to drag a lawnmower around. I could go into government contractor, still in destruction. I could go to college, but there wasn't any guarantee. And where's the money going to come from? And how am I going to live during that time? Getting a job, Okay, but I'm not going to be able to be with my dream girl. You see how crisscross all my, quote, solutions are not real solutions. They don't solve all my problems. Did not solve my problems. Okay, I remember a finance professor. He came onto a ship and he was just communicating with the class, and he was walking and he was teaching us personal finance, like how to buy savings bonds and stuff. And he said, if you want to make a lot of money, you must either own it or sell it. Church bell, bing, bing. I wouldn't move on that for quite some time, like 2 or 3 years. All right. But when I got into shore duty, I thought, you know what? Own it. I'm not that kind of person. You know, like, no. My dad, you know, like, no. We work for other people. That was the concept that I had in my head. And so I said, but maybe I could learn to sell it. That's what I thought. A fateful day, I got in the Washington Post newspaper. I opened it up and there was an ad and it said this. $, $20,000 a month, top salesperson needed, wear Italian tailor-made suits, drive a fancy European sports car. If you have the courage to call, it can make you rich, will train, and the phone number. I couldn't get to the phone booth fast enough because of that word, will train. $20,000 a month, will train. Because you know, if you watch any of my channel, I'm all about training because that's how you elevate. It's how you advance. And so that's why I call it a fateful day, but I made that day. And it was because of that prior thing. All right. So do you see that right there would solve all that and all that? If I can make that work, it solves all of it. Just like that. Okay? All right. So I called him. We met. I've had a 6 to 7 figure income for the last 33 years because of that ad. Go run ads. Okay? Like there's people like me. There's people who want this. Okay? So there you go. What if he didn't run that ad? I'd probably be blown up by now. I'm joking. I wouldn't have been. All right. So let's talk about this, how you write this ad. I gave you an example, but I want you to see how you write it. Define clearly what the desire is to the prospect. What's the prospect? In other words, okay, so the guy, his name was Rick Mayo, who wrote that ad. And he sat down and he said, who am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for somebody in blah, 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 who wants what the business does. All right? There you go. And he wrote it in the headline. And it talked to me. Define its solution, your product or business. Okay? Define its solution so sharply that he or she will recognize it as a solution immediately. Okay? $20,000 a month, will train. Didn't care anything about the car. I didn't care anything about the fancy suit. That wasn't what I wanted. But he put the image in my head. Okay, you got to understand the power of when you write a headline and don't just, hocus pocus thing, like really think about it. And so when I saw that ad, it just boom. And that's what I recognized it as a solution immediately. $20,000 a month, will train, immediate solution for me. Okay. Name the desire and or the solution in the headline. Okay, so for this solution-aware prospect, when you're targeting that group, you're going to name the desire and its solution in the headline. I never thought, myself, Tim, I never thought $20,000 a month. I was making maybe $1,300, $1,400 a month. How could I think that? It was outside of my stratosphere. The ad gave me the picture of the desire. All right? So I couldn't name that. I had that long list over there, but he solved all of my lists with that one punch. Prove that your solution can be accomplished. He did in the in-home meeting that I went to. So he invited me up to his house. We sat down, he talked to me, and he showed me basically it was building sales team. And show that the mechanism of the accomplishment is contained in your product or business. Mechanism was building a sales team. That was the mechanism, right? So you build a sales team, you get a small piece off of the sales, right? Wow. Easy peasy. Okay, so here's the framework. Want to quit work someday? Grow your own business 1 to 2 hours per night. As you're reading this, hundreds of us are growing our own businesses with a simple to follow formula. That's your mechanism, right? Based on prospects' desire, awareness, and sophistication level. And all of this is to cause people to desire it. At the end, when you're looking at your sales copy that you wrote, you have to answer the question, cause people to desire it. If it does not create the reach, then it won't work. Okay, so we've got 3 of them lined up now. We got the very aware, the product aware, and now we've got the solution aware. Knows results he wants, doesn't know your product. Desire plus or solution. That's what's going to go in the headline. Prove can be accomplished. So you got to prove that it can be accomplished in your sales copy. If you're just doing that, if you're in your sales video, you've got to do that. You got to show the mechanism that allows that facilitates that. All right. So please comment. What's your thoughts on the solution aware headline? All right. So I want you to give me your thoughts on it. You know, have we crossed over where you came in to network marketing or got products or something like that? So the more that you guys can do this, where you're giving each one of these, you're giving like how you feel about it and think about it. And then also, if you haven't already, you can go to the Telegram channel because we can ping pong back and forth and give examples, and people can ask me questions and I answer them. But your homework, and I hope you're doing it already because in the last video that I did, I asked you to do this. View every ad you see and ask yourself, what awareness level does this marketer think I am? Because sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong. And so I like to sharpen my saw, my acuteness, my awareness of what, marketers are hitting me with. So again, I appreciate you watching this, really do.